Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest Longplays. And today, we have a game very close to my heart. The second game I ever reviewed for Get Off My Lawn. It's by a French company that no longer exists, unfortunately, called Cryo Interactive. And they had real mixed sort of selection of games, and it was their downfall eventually. This was not one of them. This is a stone cold classic.
The spice is vital to space travel. The Spacing Guild and its navigators, who the spice has mutated over 4,000 years, use the orange spice gas, which gives them the ability to fold space. That is, travel to any part of the universe without moving. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. The spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe. A desolate, dry planet with vast deserts. Hidden away within the rocks of these deserts are a people known as the Fremen, who have long held a prophecy that a man would come, a Messiah, who would lead them to true freedom. The planet is Arrakis, also known as Dune.
That's right. This is Dune. And what a way to begin a game. I know, let's have an opening cinematic in 1992 directed by David Lynch. Now, when I first played this back in the early 90s, I had not seen the movie that this is partially based on, so that opening absolutely blew my mind. And it's now up to the Cryo team to sort of provide further context for what you're doing. But we shall skip this opening bit and we'll get into the game. Now, this is the Atreides Palace. This is where we start, and you'll note beautiful soundtrack. I'm not going to go on about it because one of my subscribers helpfully pointed out, James, you always talk about the music. So let's just say Stefan Peak did a brilliant job and leave it at that. The game can be mouse controlled, or it can be controlled using the arrow keys. Whichever you prefer, really. Or if you've got a joystick, you can even play it with that. You've got a contextually sensitive menu at the bottom here. You've got your direction keys plus a little red thing to show you the map of the area and where people are, hopefully, and the way out in case you get lost somehow. You've got a map of the desert and the world. Isn't that nice? Beautiful little animated globe and everything. And we'll get back to that later. And you've got the mixer panel, which has the best setting that you will ever see. You ready for this? There we go. Now you'll look at that and you'll think, what bizarre language is that? That's Fremen. They didn't need to do this, but the team at Cryo did a Fremen translation of the game. So, if you really, really want immersion, you can play in Fremen. But I'm gonna go with English, and they're quite cheeky, and I like this because obviously European developer. There's the option to play in American English, and they've titled it American because it's not the same language. You're right, guys. You've got various music options as well, but no, let's not exit the game. We can also exit the game from here, but let's not do that. So, we've got a little book on this side. We'll go to there briefly, and that provides contextual information, and you can play cutscenes and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty nice for just giving you a grounding as to where you are, who you are, and what you're doing. You're Paul Atreides, the son of the Duke, and there's the Duke right there. You can either select him from a menu, or we'll chat to him now.
I am the Duke Leto Atreides, your father.
I mean, it's very exposition heavy. You shouldn't ever have to tell your son that you're the father, unless you're on one of those American shows. You are the father! I am your daddy! Anyway, you have the option to talk to him, have him repeat what he said,
Duke Leto Atreides.
tell him to stop talking, which is what I like to do with lots of people, or ask him to come with you. This will not work.
No, I have to stay here.
Okay. Let's find out more. This is one of the most remarkable things about Dune. This came out in 1992, I believe, before the other Dune, the more famous Dune. This is entirely voiced.
My son, we must mine the spice as soon as possible, or the Emperor will recall us from Dune.
And look, it's lip-synced, and he's got facial
We've
expressions.
spotted 3 troops of Fremen around the palace, and I've sent Gurney Halleck to meet them. He's not returned yet. Go
Oh,
there
no.
and see what's keeping Gurney.
Well, we have our first goal. So, you'll note, this is me pressing the arrow keys. Not much going on there. This is one of the downsides, one of the immediate and important to note downsides of Dune. There's no arrow control. So if you want to move from somewhere, you either have the arrows control like that, or you use your mouse. So let's look at mirror. This is the bedroom, and we can stare at ourselves and save the game from here, restart, exit, and so on. And the most interesting feature, which I failed to touch upon in the main palace room, is this little thing here. This is our first day on Dune. The sun is not quite high in the sky. This is all occurring in real time. Everything you do is in real time. Lovely view, and that's where we want to get down to there. So, let's head down this way and out of the palace. Oh, who's that?
I'm your mother, Jessica. The Duke has sent Gurney Halleck to Carthag Tuek. Go outside, take an awning, and fly there. Hurry up, my son. I sense danger.
But Mom,
Your mother, Jessica.
I want you to come with me.
I'm
Yeah,
your mother,
you're my mother.
Jessica. I don't think I need to be at your side.
Nobody wants to be with Paul. Devastating. You see the 2 panes below the book? In the corner here. That shows you the number of people that you can actually have follow you about the place. You can have companions in this adventure game. So, we head out of the palace, and you've 2 options now. Let's take the first option and wander off into the desert. Because that's the way to travel, right? Let's just walk off into the desert. There we are. deeper and deeper into the desert. And the game will helpfully point out, James, the sun is beating down on you. Maybe you shouldn't wander out into the desert. James, the sun. The sun, James. No, we must head directly into the desert and... oh. We must head out. Because it's the only way to get to Gurney, right? Right? Wrong. And this is the death screen. It is grisly. You watch yourself slowly become a desiccated corpse, baked in the hot Arrakis sun. But instead of dying, you get this warning. Not a good idea to go wandering out in the desert. So, we've learnt our lesson.
My son, we must mine.
We have to mine the spice. So, it's the game essentially giving you a warning. And you'll also note it's day 2 and it's night. Let's just look out here. This game has a day-night cycle. You can wait for the morning, and we're gonna just observe this. Look at that. Like, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. It's lovely pixel art, lovely transition, and we'll take what's called an ornithopter. And we have a little map in our ornithopter. I can choose to go to Carfag Tuag, Carfag Timin, Carfag Harg, or just randomly fly about the desert, if we want. We'll come to that later. Let's go to Carfag Tuag. And even the ornithopter is voiced. So, in the original version, there wasn't quite as animated a, flying sequence, but we can take a moment to appreciate the beautiful vistas of dunes that are flying beneath us as the ground melts away and we slowly head towards a rocky outcrop and fly through these alien worlds, listening to the soundtrack that I've promised to not talk about constantly. Now, you've got the option to change destination. We're not going to do that. We'll carry on flying to Carfag Tuak, and these scenes are recycled over and over and over while you wait to get to the destination. So we'll skip to the destination, and we will click on the siege and head into it. Nice little friendly looking siege. This is the home of the Fremen. So we will talk to Gurney.
I'm Gurney Halleck. I've served the Atreides for a long time.
Lovely looking fella, isn't he?
I've just come into contact with the Fremen. The Fremen have always lived in the sands of Dune. They live in sieges so well hidden that no one knows exactly how many there are.
A hidden populace of natives.
I've tried to convince them to work for us. You try, Paul. They may trust you.
But Gurney,
I've just come
I want you to come with me.
Okay, Paul, I'm going with you.
And amazingly, somebody agrees to go with Paul. He is no longer a loser, he has friends. There we go. And that blinking is to indicate Gurney Halleck is now a member of our company. And if we want to speak to him at any point, let's go out of the siege.
I've just come into contact with
Yep,
the Fremen.
there he is.
The Fremen.
And when you have a companion with you, they will offer contextual information, you can discuss things with them, and sometimes they can actually come in handy, and provide either information or services that are required at any given moment. So let's talk to this Fremen.
We've heard of you. You are the son of the Atreides Duke, and of Jessica, the...
Could he be the one? The one what? And this is the beautiful thing. You are the son of a Bene Gesserit, some sort of space witch lady. That's your mother. and the son of, you know, a duke who is an absolute specimen of, you know, intelligence and genetically speaking, you are an aberration because the Bene Gesserit aren't meant to have sons. Because generally it goes horribly, horribly wrong for them. And all of this is underpinned by the lore in Dune, the science fiction book that, in my opinion, is the best ever written. And the team used it as a bible for everything that they talk about. And while the dialogue here isn't exactly, you know, stellar, you know, it's not going to win any awards, and was originally written in French, I believe. It does the job quite nicely to set the scene. So already you've got this question in your mind: what's the one? What one? You know?
We Fremen are the original inhabitants of Dune. We've adapted our way of life to the desert.
Absolutely. So if he goes ... he's run out of stuff to say.
We've heard of you.
Okay.
You are the son of the Atreides Duke.
Well,
and of Jessica, the...
work for me.
Yes, I agree to let my troops work.
Just like that. And Paul has powers of persuasion that other people do not. So, this leads to the next part of the game. And this is where Dune really, really takes off. Because you think to yourself, this is a fairly entertaining little sort of first-person adventure game. And then you hit this button.
My
Boom.
troop is awaiting your orders.
And suddenly you realise, hey, this is an RTS from 1992 that predates Dune 2, hence Dune 2's name. So we click on the unit,
We are awaiting your orders.
and we
May I show
can
you the
ask for
characteristics
more information about the unit, how many men it comprises, how motivated he is.
of orders?
We can select our occupation. So, if we ask them to be our
I think my
soldiers,
troop feels the
they'll
necessity.
say, nah, why would we fight for you? I mean, it makes sense. Why would they?
We aren't very used to spice mining.
But they will mine the spice for us. So there we go. We exit the maps. We can also take an ornithopter from there, which is nice. But let's do it the normal way. Let's see what Gurney has to say.
It would be best for us to visit the three Sietches together, and then return to the palace and inform the Duke.
And this is the nice bit. You know, you're not going to be lost. Gurney will always give you a bit of advice and say, hey, how about we do this? Or how about we go there and do that? So, we'll go to the three Sietches. And we'll skip again to the destination. There is a nice landing sequence where it transitions from, like, desert to arriving at the siege. But you can see that for yourself. You can also click on stuff on the map to interact with it. You don't have to use the menu like I've been doing. So let's talk to this guy.
I can feel something in you, but I wonder if you will be able to penetrate the secrets of this planet.
And already there's some nice, tasty lamp shading. Yes, it's the only time lampshades will be referred to as tasty. So he's nothing more to say to us.
I can feel
How about you work for
something
us?
I'm not
No.
quite sure that you're able to appreciate.
There you go. So this guy's being quite coy about something, and he's rejected us. Not everyone's just going to immediately go and say, yeah, Paul, we'll join your army. Let's go. You know? What does Gurney have to say about this?
Did you notice? All the Fremen we meet have blue eyes. Totally blue. No whites in them. It's linked to saturation of the blood with spice. The Fremen seem to be organized into tribes or troops. It would be best for us to visit the three cities.
Mayor, some nice little contextual information from Gurney. And now let's go to the last siege. off we go. And once again, we will skip to the destination. That's a nice little random thing you've got there. What could that be? Is that the tail end of an ornithopter, perchance?
We saw you coming from the other siege.
You did? Work
Yes,
for me.
I agree to let my troops work for you.
Simple as that. Okay, let's put him to work, just like the
We
other
are
one.
awaiting your orders. We know a little about spice mining.
Now, you'll notice that there's options here as well, like modify equipment and move troop. We'll get to that. Okay, Gurney,
Let's go and tell the Duke that we have 2 troops working for us.
sounds good to me. And you'll notice on the map, let's see Dune map again. If we scroll down here, now obviously there's no movement scrolling, and the arrow keys don't help. You have to use the mouse. It's primitive in that respect. There are certain elements of Dune that have aged, you know, don't get me wrong. So, if we scroll down here, you'll notice, hey, there's a random dude there, but he's transparent. That's the guy who refused to work for us. And you'll see it's getting to dusk here, so we'll take an Orny to the palace. You'll also notice there was a blue palace on that map there. If we fly there, that's our hated enemy, the Harkonnens. They will shoot us down immediately, and that'll be game over. We don't want that. So, instead of immediately skipping to the destination, because it's not far to go, I'm going to deliberately leave this, and I'm just going to let you bask in the animation briefly. And you'll think to yourself, James, why? Why don't you just continue playing? This is a long play, is it not? And you'd be right. You know, this technically isn't playing. This is me sat watching a screen. But it's not too far to go. Sometimes with older games, patience is rewarded. With more modern games, it's about getting as many dopamine hits as possible. Look at that transition tonight. Beautiful. Mid-animation. But anyway, your patience will be rewarded with a delightful scene in a moment. And my phone just went off. My goodness. Here we go, the map is gone. And that means one thing. Now, witnessing that in 1992, I mean, shocking. Shockingly good. Like, whoever did the game design, in terms of the visuals, just hit it out of the park. The stylized pixel art, the character models, just tremendous. Now, you'll notice there's another fella here. Let's briefly accost him, shall we?
I'm Duncan, Idaho. The Duke asked me to supervise the production of spice.
You will be talking to Duncan a lot. Duncan cares about one thing in life: spice. He cares not for your emotional worries. He cares not for the state of the world. Duncan cares about spice.
Well, for the moment I haven't much to do. I hope that we'll be able to extract large quantities of spice very soon.
Duncan is hoping that the spice will flow. We are going to help with that.
If you really want to know about the properties of spice, ask your mother, Jessica.
And already he's providing a little tail ender of information.
Here are our current stocks of spice.
There we go. We've got 30 kilograms of spice.
Do remember that spice is by far the most valuable substance in the whole universe.
Do you like spice, Duncan?
That it can only be found here on Dune.
Okay, so Duncan is the spice man in this game. In the books, he has a more active role, but for the purposes of this game, this is Mr. Spice. You could call him a spice boy, I guess, but let's not. Jessica.
Spice is mined from the sand of Dune. Spice prolongs life and extends consciousness. It's used by the guild navigators to travel through space.
So if you missed the cutscene, there's her filling you in.
I wonder what the proximity of so much spice will do to you, Paul.
And there's the kicker. The more proximity you have with spice, the more things will change for you. And we might well see that within the hour, we might not. Anyway, let's carry on and speak to Duke Leto
Have a
Atreides.
special garment which they call a still suit. Wearing this, they can stay in the desert without losing body fluid.
That would be useful.
It would be advantageous for us to have some of these still suits. I want you and Gurney to go and find some of these suits for us. And remember, avoid wandering in the desert. You won't go very far without a still suit.
Yes, Dad, I know. We did it last time and it didn't end up well. Gurney.
Oh yes, still suits. Let me remember.
Come on, old man.
That's it. The Fremen in the siege where we met told me about a still suit maker.
Okay. We now have our next goal. So let's head out to the Orny. We met Gurney and Carfag Tuek, I believe. The middle one was the Fremen who wouldn't want to work with us. The top one was Carfag Harg. I saw you coming from the Everseach guy. So, Carfag Tuek, we're off to. Let's skip to Carfag Tuek. You, tell us.
I thought you looked interested in my still suit.
Yes, give it to me.
Yes, I know a still suit maker. You will find him if you fly eastward in your Orny. It's not very far, but be sure to fly with someone. Sietches are well hidden and not easy to find. We're doing spice mining.
Okay. So, he's given us the information we need, but he hasn't helpfully marked the location of the siege on our map. So we have Gurney.
We must fly eastward from Carthag Tuek.
There's our answer. We have a companion. If we were to do this on our own, we wouldn't be able to spot it, and I'll show you now. Or I'll try to anyway. You've got to be careful with this. It's not pixel perfect. You just have to make sure it says desert eastwards. So, we're flying eastward from Carfag Tuek. Not all of the sietches will be discovered this way. There are Fremen who are nice, and they'll say, oh yes, there are more sietches in these locations, you know, rather than saying, hey Paul, you're gonna have to find them all yourself. Now you'll notice when you're in free fly mode, there are little arrows down at the bottom. Now, while that doesn't change the way that the map looks, it does change the direction that you're flying up here. So if you suddenly discover, oh, there's a Harkonnen fortress we're approaching, you can, you know, move, but in most ordinary scenarios, you're never going to use them, ever, ever, ever. So it's a largely superfluous touch. Not an unwelcome one, though. This is probably my least favourite part of the game.
Siege there on the left.
Now you'll note that Gurney has pointed it out for us. The problem with finding sietches is sometimes you can miss them and fly way wide. Okay, let's go towards this place. And then you have the option to skip to destination, but we're not going to do that. We're going to watch the beautiful animation of us landing in the siege in midday, because it's nice. Here we go. And crest this dune. There is our brand new siege. Now, inside we shall find the stilt suit maker. Gurney, do you have anything worth saying?
Stay here. Either we go in or we leave.
Gurney, I do not like your sass. I was asking for advice. Now this is different. Look at this architecture. This is not like the sietches we were in before. this is the home of this fella. Now, you'll also notice, hey, there's a forward arrow there. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to be more relaxed and circumspect in our choices? Or are we just going to charge head on?
No, wait. We'd rather you didn't visit our siege. There's nothing here for you to see.
Oh, fine.
Welcome to our siege, Paul Atreides.
Well, how can we be welcome if you just forbid us from going any further? There must be something you're hiding.
So, you want to know about the principles of our still suits? It's good that you're so keen to learn our ways. A still suit is basically a high-efficiency filter. Perspiration passes through the first layer and is gathered in the second. Salt is separated, and the reclaimed water circulates to catch pockets from which you can drink through a tube at your neck.
That's right, you can drink your own pee and sweat.
Breathing and walking provide the pumping action. Here are some steel suits for both of you, and I'll send some to your palace as well.
I'll never need to go to the toilet again. Well, that's not true.
I know of 2 more sieges in the vicinity whose leaders would be more than interested in meeting you, Paul Atreides. Travel north and east from here.
So, north and east.
We've heard of you.
Work
Yes,
for me.
I agree to let my troops work. My troop is awaiting your orders.
Work and
I've seen a
spice.
spice harvest
Now,
area.
this is the next bit.
There isn't anyone using it. It would be nice to have it.
We can modify the
Here are the
equipment.
characteristics of my troop.
And you'll see he's on trial in spice. That improves with, practice. We'll give him the spice harvester. You'll also notice there's an Orny there. We're not going to give him that. Why? Because that's our Orny. We want to keep that because we need it to travel.
I'm sure that we'll do a better job with this harvester.
There we are. No more orders. Okay. He's magically teleported up there. This Fremen chief has strange powers. Gurney,
Let's visit these 2 new sieges.
stop talking, Gurney. So, you'll note what I said before has come to pass. There's a siege at Carthag Tabar that we have not seen, and Tuono Tuek. Let's go to Carthag Tabar. Tabar. Tomato. And we'll skip there. And you're beginning to see the basic gameplay loop of the adventure section. There's still a few bits and pieces.
So here is this Paul Atreides.
Work for me.
Agree to let my troops work for you.
I'm not being polite
We are
anymore.
awaiting your orders. The
Just
area
like-
has to be prospected for
Oh.
spice before we start mining it.
So, he can't mine because the area needs prospected. Gurney, any information on this?
I suspect the existence of a troop of prospectors. Well, there has to be one.
Now, we'll go here and get this next Fremen. Have a nice evening flight. You,
So here is this Paul Atreides.
Work for me.
I agree to let. We are awaiting your orders.
and you'll notice
The area has to be prospected.
the area needs to be prospected as well. So we have to find this prospector. And obviously, through process of elimination, you'd think to yourself, right, do we have to ask each of the Fremen leaders that we've come into contact with if they're the prospector? Nope. We just go to Carthag Timon. Sure, it's a bit of a spoiler for a game that's older than most of the people watching, but we could skip there. You are the prospector.
We had heard rumors that you might call on our services. Prospecting for spice is a dangerous and a skillful job. Well, you're talking to the right person. My troop specializes in spice prospecting. I'm sure we're the only Fremen troop who are able to do this.
And he's not wrong. He is the only
Had heard
spice
rumors
prospector.
that you might call us.
So-
Good to see that our knowledge is appreciated.
We'll tell him
Yes,
to
all
work for us
traders.
now and he will agree.
We'll work for you.
So, we go to the
We are
overview
awaiting your orders.
and we'll tell him to specialize in spice because he's a spice prospector.
We're unbeatable in spice prospecting. Here, I have something you may find interesting.
Oh,
Here, take this map of the planet. You can update this map as we send back information to you.
intriguing. So, a spice
We are the
prospector
Spice prospectors. We have already been here for many
is a
days.
bit different. Because as you can see, we've got two troops here that aren't working.
We are the spice pro. Show me 3 sietches where you want me to go.
We tell him to go to the sietches that have grey spice density. This map shows us the spice density of each of the locations. The lower the spice density, the less spice will be produced. So we tell him
Okay.
to go in a little triangle there, boom, 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 and they will be prospected. So we'll exit the map now. Gurney, any more information?
Let's go back to the palace.
That's a very good idea, Gurney. So we take an ornithopter back to the palace,
Atreides Palace.
and we'll go and speak with Father Dearest.
Look, the steel suits have been stored here.
They have, Gurney.
It's rather different here from the sietches we've been to, isn't it?
Yes, Gurney. The giant palace is slightly different to the cave-like Fremen structures we have been visiting. That's a very good observation. And we'll head over to our father.
We've got the still suits. Good work, Paul. Don't forget to have a look at the map to see if your troops are working well. Paul, as you know, we haven't been here at the palace long, and this old building may still hold many secrets. Our enemies were here recently. We have already found some traps.
And this is the next bit of the game.
Well, your mother Jessica has this special talent for...
So,
remember that now
we have to
our most...
continue producing spice. There's Jessica in the room. You,
I wonder what the proximity is.
Come with me.
Both will try to examine the few rooms we can access. Go ahead, Paul. I gave you more than an education. It was more of a kind of special training. I expect that here on this very special planet, you'll discover that you have many special powers.
special. We are special. So, Jessica's with us, and she is going to sound out these various rooms and see if we can find a secret room. So, let's ask Gurney. Gurney,
It's rather different here from the sietches we've
stop
been to.
talking, Gurney.
I can't tell you more for the moment, but each time you
Okay.
experience something strange or special, come and tell me.
Well, I'd be
I'll give you an
constantly telling you, because everything about this game is special. Jessica,
I feel nothing particular in this room. Oh, Paul, how I miss our planet, Caladan, with its oceans and... This is so different. I feel nothing particular in this room.
and you'll note there that that was entirely unprompted. I went into the room and it triggered her into saying that. When you have particular people in your company and go to specific places, they will react sometimes, which is nice. Jessica,
I feel nothing particular in this
nope.
room.
Let's try you.
I feel something here. It's so faint. No, let's continue.
Now, obviously, I can ruin this somewhat and hit the red button, and you can clearly see, hey, there's other rooms. So, what she's sensing there is the presence of a room that we'll come into contact with later. There's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms that you unlock, and we are about to unlock 2.
I can feel something. I think there's a hidden door on the left.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, let's have a look.
Sure, let's examine it. Oh. And welcome to the most pointless room in the game. In here, you do nothing. There's 3 doors. One leads nowhere. The other leads back out. And then, Jessica?
Seems to lead somewhere.
It does lead somewhere.
Let's follow.
That's a good idea.
I really don't understand much of this kind of technology.
Oh, quiet you.
It looks like a communication room, used to send and receive long-distance messages. I'm going to try to open this door on the right.
Okay. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a cutscene. Cutscenes in Dune are where characters talk back and forth with each other, and you basically listen as the silent protagonist. This was used to great effect in later games, you know, stuff like Half-Life, StarCraft, you know. But this is one of those early titles where it was just quite happy to let other people chat and you be a silent protagonist.
A communication room. Let's all gather here. Jessica really has extraordinary faculties, doesn't she?
What a loving husband. And my phone going off in the background.
Thank you, Leto. But let me tell you, this is an exhausting exercise.
So it's a bit like yoga then. But anyway, everyone is here, they're seated, let's continue.
As we are almost all gathered here, I would like to congratulate Paul for what he's done since we arrived here on Dune.
Almost all gathered here. There's still some people missing.
6 sieges, and now these troops of Fremen are working for us. That's a good start, isn't it, Jessica?
I'm pleased to notice that Paul now has a rising charisma among the Fremen.
And that's the thing. As your charisma increases, the Fremen will be more likely to work for you. Hey, Leto.
Paul, I'm very proud of you. All of my hopes are set on you.
No pressure then, huh? And that's it. We have ourselves a communication room. Jessica, do you have anything else to add?
This is a communication room.
It is!
When you view a message, a holographic image of the sender is generated in the center.
Okay.
No messages have arrived yet, but I am sure we will soon have one from the Emperor. I'm so tired from having sounded rooms like that. It's emotionally exhausting.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate for you. What we're going to do now is we're going to show you, if we take an ornithopter and say, let's go to Carthag Tuek with Jessica.
I'm staying here.
Oh. And she's just like, no. No, Paul. So, we'll head back to the palace. And she'll stand out there for a little bit, but she'll go inside eventually, you know. Hey, Duncan.
I must congratulate you on finding this prospecting troop. We're now well on the way, Paul.
We are, Duncan. Spice, spice,
Even
spice.
with the Fremen, we won't get very far in mining spice if we don't have more harvesters. A harvester is a very efficient machine used to mine spice from the ground. You told me you saw one harvester in a siege. Go there with Gurney and see if you can locate some more of them.
So that's our next goal. Stop talking, Duncan. We don't care about the spice stocks. So, we need to head out. Bye, Jessica. I believe it was Tono Taber. And the guy who gave us stilt suits. Still suits? I don't know why I call them stilt suits. It's like stilt skin. Rumple stilt suit. Shut up, James. Okay, he's teleported from there to there, but since we gave him enough time, he may well have used a walkway or something, who knows. Fremen Chief.
The harvester. We found it in a siege, northeast. Fly straight from here over the crater center, but don't go beyond the rocky area.
Kind of vague directions, man, but, you know.
We're doing spice mining. We're doing spice mining.
What are you doing?
We're doing spice mining.
Really? So, northeast, was it?
Nice siege.
Let's ask that guy again about it.
The harvester. We found
Northeast.
Northeast.
Straight from here over the crater center. Okay. And if you struggle with that, you can always ask, what?
The harvester, the harvester.
The harvester, the harvester, the harvester, the harvester.
We found it in a sea.
You know, you can make them repeat stuff, which is nice. So, north, east. There we are. And back to my hopeless searching for Seaches. Searching for Seaches, that's nice alliteration. So, as you've noticed, there are gradual unlocking elements in Dune. This is essentially the tutorial still. The adventure part of the game has a plot line, and most interestingly about it is that it deviates from the book. The actual Dune novel is different from the Dune game, and it was a very, very bold decision from Cryo, you know, because Dune is held in such high regard in science fiction circles. So, to create a science fiction video game with the exact same characters, pretty much, and then decide, no, we're going to write our own plot for our game. That takes, yeah. I'm not going to complete that sentence. You can complete that in your head. It takes some grit and determination. Was that what James was going to say? Anyway, yes. Gradually things are unlocked. Bit by bit, piece by piece. More and more things come into play. I'm not going to spoil it and explain all the various gameplay elements that are slowly unlocked, but in particular, the proto-RTS elements begin to play a larger and larger role in the proceedings as you sort of, I'd say, juggle between being a commander of the Fremen troops, a messiah, I guess,
It looks like a siege there on
and also continuing with the adventure game elements in the first-person mode. And you do both at the same time. All that flying, but nothing. There's no Fremen here. Gurney, is there any Fremen here?
Have you seen the two harvesters around the siege? We must go to the two nearest sieges to tell the Fremen to come and pick them up.
That's a good idea, Gurney. A very good idea. Now, you'll note, if we go to the Dune map, you'll see a prospector there. And if we try and talk to him, nothing happens because he's not here. But you'll see also equipment. So, we will head to Tabor.
We're doing spice mining.
You know, if he's a member of Carthag Tabor, is this his little tabernacle? Right. Anyway, give orders to troop,
We're doing spice mining.
and
Let me show you the statistics.
you'll see there's nothing in Tabor, and he has no equipment. So,
Okay.
that's the wrong button. What we do is we change the troop occupation to search for equipment. And if there's equipment nearby that he can use, he'll go and fetch it. Now, let's see the spice density. I think if we fly out to Tuono Tuek, and we'll use a shortcut and go there flying at Orny, it's a more streamlined way of getting there.
We've been asked to do spice mining, but can't.
Yep, I know. But the
We've been asked to
prospector
do
will go and
spice mining,
prospect,
but can't start it right now.
and we will tell you to go get a spice harvester. Okay. Gurney, anything important to
All
say?
we can do now is go back to the palace with the two harvesters distributed.
Sounds like a plan to me, Gurney.
Select destination on map.
Back to the palace. Duncan,
Here are our current. You can notice that. Do remember that.
That's nice, Duncan. Hey, Dad?
This is my favorite room in the palace. Look, Paul. Look at those dunes. What a sight.
That's what I've been saying. The dunes are beautiful.
A person needs new experiences. They jar something inside, allowing you to grow.
And that might seem like an exceedingly philosophical statement, but that's because the book that this game is based on is deeply philosophical in itself. So it makes sense to have some characters say a few things that are just like, hey.
Without changes, something sleeps inside us and seldom awakens. The sleeper must awaken.
No guesses as to who the sleeper is.
Have you seen the message in the communication room?
Oh. There's a message. Come with me, Dad.
I have to stay here.
Aw. Rejected. What do you have to say,
I do
Jessica?
my best to help you, Paul, but sometimes you have to manage.
But I don't want to manage. I want everyone to handhold me through the entire game. You know, like modern titles. But Dune usually gives you enough information to go by. It's not too obtuse in that respect. Let's go to the communication room and view your messages. A message from Emperor Shaddam IV, unlocking the next element of the game. Hello.
I do remind you that I sent you to Dune to extract spice. So make the necessary arrangements. I will call you again very soon for the first shipment.
We're not going to tell the Emperor of the Known Universe what. We're just going to say that's viewed. Gurney?
I really don't understand.
Thanks for that. Okay. Duncan?
You've seen the Emperor's message? Well, our spice production has to be increased.
I agree.
This Fremen from Tuono Tabor, the one who gave us the still suits, he told me about an area rich in spice.
Intriguing.
Here are our current stocks of spice.
So he's been chatting away to the Fremen. I wonder what the conversation topic was about. Spice.
This is my favorite room.
Okay, so we've pretty much been told straight up. Go back to Tuono Tabor. It's that guy again. Mr. Here's where the harvesters are. Mr. Here's where the suits are. He seems to know an awful lot about things. With his fancy speech. You!
Paul Atreides, you seem to be much interested in spice.
A quick word about the sound here. You'll note that the voices are coming predominantly from the left side, and the quality isn't tremendous. That's technical limitations of the time, because this kind of thing hadn't really been tried, especially not in Europe, to my knowledge anyway.
Yes, I've been told of vast spice fields in the south. Take your Orny.
Southeast.
We're doing spice mining.
Okay. I think we know what we're going to do next then. Let's take an Orny and go southeast. Southeast. Yes. Just gotta hit it right. Now, hopefully I've hit the right spot. You can technically press the wrong thing and go flying for ages and then you have to start from the beginning again. It's a bit annoying, but for the most part the Siege Discovery isn't too bad. You're not sent flying across the entire planet in order to find one random pixel-based locale, you know? And as you probably noticed, everything that has been thrown at us so far has been done in a very gradual and deliberate, unveiling fashion. And there's always been enough suitable exposition or information for us to go by, you know? At no point will you be sat there scratching your head and thinking, what? And if somehow you end up in that position, then you can always look up a guide. There are guides on the internet for how to complete Dune, because there are a few bits and pieces that you might miss otherwise. I remember I showed this to somebody and got them playing it.
Looks like a siege there on the left.
And they got into a no-win scenario. And it is possible. It is possible to get into no-win scenarios in Dune if you don't do things within a certain time frame, because it is in real time. So, we found a siege. Wait a second. It looks like some kind of Fremen, but there's something wrong with them.
I've heard about you, Paul Atreides. You were misinformed. All the people have left.
She's a woman.
I stayed here to mourn for my husband, Jameis. He died during a fight with a young man. But mourning time comes to an end now. I have to live my life.
And this character, to my knowledge, I might be wrong, somebody in the comments can correct me here because it's been a long time since I read Dune, I don't think she's in Dune. I think she's a game-exclusive character with her own backstory. And yes, it does that if you if you spotted that briefly there. It does this weird zooming in thing occasionally. It's not a bug, it's just if you sit in a conversation and you don't answer.
Ah, the spice. Yes, the spice is easy to locate around here, and there's much more southwards. I know several siege locations.
Several sieges. Super. Several sieges. Spice. Several spice sieges. Come with me.
Yes, Paul Atreides. I'm going with you, and I don't care what the people will say.
That's scandalous. A widowed woman that you've randomly found in a cave, and you're just being like a caveman, you're clubbing her over the head and you're dragging her out to your ornithopter. Because, you know, that's a thing a lot of cavemen have. Okay, so we have a second companion. Hera. You can only have 2 companions at a time. So if you need another, then if you tell them to come with, another one will stay. You'll note that she's already marked them out quite nicely for us. So let's go to Habanya Timin. Skip.
You like traveling, don't you?
Yep, it's part of the job. You do a lot of travelling in Dune. And that self-awareness is nice.
To our siege.
This guy is my favourite Fremen. I'm not entirely sure why, but he is. I've played Dune a number of times.
Are you Paul Atreides?
Yes,
The voice from the outer world.
only on weekends.
Yes, I agree to let my troops work for you.
Okay.
My troop is awaiting your orders.
Spice.
The area has to be prospected for spice.
Equipment.
May I show you the character?
There's no equipment. So we can quickly change troop occupation, tell them to go search for equipment. And what we can do now, you'll note that the spice prospectors are coming back. We'll have a look at the spice density. They have prospected that area. When they get back, we'll fly over to Carfac Timin. Carfac Timin, it says 1. What it means is there's one guy coming back who will be there. So when you fly out, because it's in real time, he'll be heading back. Anyway, we'll exit these maps and we will head out and go to the next one. You!
So here is this.
What a tremendous haircut that is. I wish I could pull that off. I don't have the hair for it anymore. I think I'd get some admiring looks.
Yes, I agree to let my troops work.
Look at those sideburns. Okay.
My troop is awaiting your orders. The area has to be prospected.
Specialize in spice.
Okay.
Search for equipment. You get the general idea here. So when you unlock a series of sieges, you fly out, You befriend the Fremen, the friendly Fremen, and also run into people like this.
We saw you coming from the other siege. Work for you? I don't see the point.
Cheers. What a miserable old coot. So this guy won't work for us. Hara, what's up?
This Fremen chief is a little hard to convince. You should come back here again later.
Our charisma is probably not high enough. And if we go briefly by Hara, and we go to the Dune map, and we go to the globe, we can hit see results. And you'll see the spice production of the Harkonnens and of us. And you'll see the little dots. Look at that, we've got some nice little spice production going there on a 3D globe. But you'll also see it's our 6th day here, and our charisma is only 4. As our charisma... No, I wish to continue. That button also exits the globe and brings you back to where you are. But yes, as our charisma increases, and as our proximity to the spice lengthens, we will undergo changes. And that's it, that's the alarm gone off. Some of those changes will be the ability to contact troops using the map, rather than visiting each and every siege with the Orni. Other abilities are the ability to convince Fremen to do things for you. Like, we only got into spice mining, there is combat. You can tell them to specialise in army and something else as well, but spoilers, and you can get them to fight for you. But anyway, you've seen the basics, just scratching the surface of Dune. And it's a beautiful game. It's a lovely game. And it's one that I've gone to bat for over 2 decades now. I have been on the internet complaining at people, telling them about this glorious French title that's vastly underrated and always seems to miss out when people talk about the DOS games that are truly innovative and immersive and stand the test of time. And I'd recommend anyone to go out and find a copy, because it's no longer sold because of licensing hell on account of it being based off a book and featuring stuff from a film. The Herbert estate might change that over the next year or so. There's going to be another Dune movie, and perhaps we'll see Dune again on GOG.com, who knows. But in the meantime, feel free to search it out, and thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this long play, then feel free to check out some of my shorter videos, or my other long plays, and if you enjoy them, feel free to subscribe. Until next time.